I was thinking to myself, I got up and I'm like, I got to do a reading. I got to do this reading. This is the Scorpio reading. So I'm going to do a general reading for the sign of Scorpio. I'm going to start with my Mythic Greene tarot deck here. Then I will do an astrological analysis for the sign of Scorpio. Both are general readings. If anything resonates, take it. If it doesn't, it's just words. While I am shuffling here, I'm going to do a 9-card spread. I'll take the bottom card and the middle card on a cut. I'm not a professional tarot reader. I'm an intuitive person, but I'm learning. So let's see here. New Moon and Leo coming up. That's what this reading's all about. But if you find it in a year or two, that's okay. It might have something in there for you. All right, I think I'm getting close. When my face starts to itch, it's time. All right. I'm going to lay the cards out first, then we will talk about them. Interesting. Powerful. Now I'm a Scorpio ascendant, Uranian Scorpio ascendant, so I got Uranus on my ascendant. So I carry the eternal wound, the eternal memory through the scorpionic experience. What do we got on the cut? All right, I'm going to analyze it real quick, feel into this, and then we'll talk. All right, so starting with the Four of Cups here. Everyone's got an idea, everyone's got an opinion, everyone has a perspective. Other people's emotions count, other people's experiences count, but do they count more than your own? Four Cups sitting there. Sometimes in life, and I could speak to this personally, you don't know what you want because you're not in a place to be that accepting of potential. You're still digesting the past. You're still digesting the things you feel deep within yourself. So she's holding the flowers. She knows she wants emotional contentment, but she doesn't have a cup to put it into. She doesn't have the will, the passion, the fire, the desire to hold the cup or to pour it or to accept anyone else's perspectives because she's deep in contemplation. She is digesting. We digest, transmute, transform, all those scorpionic words. And why? Sometimes it's because we feel like we have lost something from the past. Sometimes it's because we don't want to repeat loops, the self-fulfilling prophecy, the karmic legacy, the gift of the curse. So in this depiction, there's 4 cups there spilled. And she forgot there's one more cup sitting there. She's seeking the angel, the dream, the partner, the potential hidden in the moon, hidden deep in the emotions. And she forgot that she's holding a cup, or she has a cup down there. Instead, she's holding the flame, the eternal flame. She's trying to safeguard the inner fire. And so we go from the Four of Cups to the Five of Cups, the natural progression here. But you could read it 5 to 4. Next card is the Devil. The possession, the obsession, the desire. Looks like my man the Devil loves his scones. This man's feasting upon a scone. He's got these meat puppets down here dancing for him. This is the primal desires and the replication of the world around us in relation to consensus, reality, dictate, narration, expectations, obligations. The things we repress in order to maintain status quo, to do what it takes to get through the day. Sometimes we find libations, we find outlet in the pleasures of life. But there comes a time when we realize that we're just holding ourselves, essentially. And then there comes a time when we realize that that holding of the self is actually part of the process. Nothing to get down on ourselves about, because it is the cultivation of our strength. And we got that Leo New Moon here in the 10th house of Scorpio. Now this lion looks a little sleepy. Looks like he just woke that lion up, or he's trying to. Trying to rewild, to awaken the fire within ourselves. The sword, the staff, the wand on the ground. Sword looks bent. In the cave of the self, trying to reawaken the fire within. To bring that forward. Because we've been battling with the devil, we've been battling with the darkness, we've been transforming. We've been walking this long path from the dark to light, and we saw the light way off in the distance. We just kept walking towards it, and eventually we get to the sleeping lion. How do we wake that up? I jumped to the Strength card subconsciously. But the next card in the progression was the Sun. This was the first card of the second row. I jumped to the first card of the third row. I don't know why the lion grabbed me. But here's another Leo card. The Sun, the happiest card in the deck. This looks like Apollo. It looks like a child of Helios, essentially. Holding the lyre, holding the bow, dressed in his finest toga. I don't know what that thing is, but standing outside the pillars. Here's 2 pillars of the Four of Wands behind him. So the foundation of the self is being set through realization. The realization which comes from knowing the darkness so that you may honor the light. So I see a cultivation of the fires within ourselves, the realization of our own power, and bringing heaven to earth here, if we can get this thing to focus. A modern dad here. But an ancient depiction of the alchemical wedding, an expression of life in relation to the fertility of nature, the honoring of the heritage of our human condition. So this is the 10 of Pentacles. This is a happy home, happy life. The progeny, the gift of the ancestors. The emotions deep in the background, there's we come from the wellspring of emotional transformation. We bring that forward to our expression in this world, putting tension to form and creating beautiful things in abundance for those we love and ourselves. But we've got to go through the depths a lot of times to come to a realization where we can honor that. And for me and a lot of us, especially in these times, it's about this. It's about finding the source of your emotional purity. Deep in the woods, there's a sacred spring. The child within is sitting there waiting with the candle. That's that 5 of, she's holding the candle here. That's the sacred flame of the purity of the child within. And here we go with the emotions. Looking at the emotions. Now, a lot of times in life, they say time heals all wounds, but really time allows us the space to get the tension out into this world so that we can reface the wounds. We can take it out of the darkness, bring it into the light. Analyze it, taste it a little bit, see how sweet it is, maybe add a little sugar, a little juice or something, I don't know. But this is the purity of your emotions being brought forward. Maybe the child's going to bring these emotions to the cave of the self. Maybe that lion has just been partying too much, needs a little water to wake up. Needs to get rehydrated. That dude looks like he needs a bath. That could be part of the problem. So self-care, that kind of stuff. Leading us to the 7 of Swords here. All right, so in life, we see this depiction here. The crumbling of the past to the left. New structure to the, I guess to his right it's the crumbled path where he's carrying his swords. And then there's a new structure here with a cave, with a door. Perhaps this is the outside of this. The mind, you see, the mind plays tricks on us, but it plays tricks on us for good reason. It allows us to space the loops, the games with which to process the emotions. Sometimes you need to go with the mind in order to get to where you are going. Knowing that the emotions and the past comes with you, your foundation's created from within. But there's times when you have to be a little bit cold, calculated. So that's kind of wearing the blue cloak here, carrying the 7 swords. The moon is informing through the shadow that this being is following. Knows that to get to the light it has to follow the path, but it's doing following the path through following its shadow in a reverse way, because it knows that soon the sun will rise anyway. Maybe then they'll read the signs, drop the swords. Maybe they will tire of the games and stand in judgment to be reborn. Now this, the rod, the caduceus being held. Ophiuchus is the one with the caduceus. So perhaps you're being reawoken in the Ophiucan spirit. Now if you look at Western Tropical, Ophiuchus is in the beginning. About 10 to 13 degrees Sagittarius is the star of Ophiuchus. If you're born the later edge of Scorpio, or you're Sag rising, then you've got this energy permeating through you. If you've got any placements in that area, you've got the healing power of Ophiuchus flowing through you. You just need to figure out how to tap into it. So I feel we're figuring out how to heal the self, rewild the spirit within, and be reborn. Carrying our fire forward here. This was on the bottom of the deck. Knight of Wands. So perhaps you will be carrying your fire forward, or some other people will be carrying their fire towards you because they can feel your power. You see, the beast of burden has been slain. Now it's party time. We've got this Pegasus here. This guy's about to fly off into the potential of imagination. Where does that bring you? To realization of your Nine of Cups here. The precursor to the alchemical wedding. Looks like a good time. So this 4 to 5 to 9 of Cups, via the page, via the purity of your emotions. In life, we always think we got to have our stuff together. We got to go through these steps one by one, but really it doesn't work that way. It's about realization. And that happens constantly. If you think you've already got it all figured out, then welcome to hubris. Nemesis will rise to show you. All right, let's look at, what are we doing here? How do I know? All right, this is getting completely mental. All right. Fucking A. What the fuck's up with this? It's starting to annoy the hell out of me. The sanctity of this reading is being destroyed by this technical difficulties. All right. Let's look at the chart. So here is a chart for the Leo New Moon, August 16th, 2023. Wherever you are in the world, just look for the time. I'm in Central Standard Time in the US here. Now if I'm doing a personal consultation with someone, I use the Porphyry House system. I like that system. But for the sake of ease, simplicity, and because this is a general analysis, I just broke it down into whole signs so that we could get the general dynamics of the 12ing of the zodiacal wheel in relation to how these dynamics play out for us. So, modern ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. Where is Pluto for us? Down here in the 3rd house. The mind, the communications, the process analysis, the transformation of Gemini, the working transformation of Leo. And that leads us up here into the 10th house. So this is the Leo New Moon is going to be at 23 degrees Leo in the 3rd decan, which is ruled by Mars, the ancient ruler of Scorpio. We just had this nodal shift from Taurus, Scorpio to Aries, Libra. So now Mars is now the new North Node ruler, and Libra is the old South Node ruler. And we will get into that in a moment. But new moons, reawakening or rebirthing of our emotional awareness through realization of our will, our ego, the desire which drives us to manifest, create, and bring forth life into this world. Now, if we look at the new moon, we've got Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde, she's in a balsamic phase conjunction with this new moon, even though she's going backwards, so it appears. And we've got Black Moon Lilith in a new phase conjunction to this new moon. Taking those two bits of information into account, we're about halfway through the Venus retrograde. She's going to station direct in a week or two here, well, within 2 weeks. And she will station direct at 12 degrees Leo, which is the north node of Neptune. True value. What is the true value? What have you compromised? What have you sacrificed? What purity have you held back because other people couldn't handle it, other people couldn't take the fire? What have you had to repress because you yourself, you couldn't hold the fire because you didn't feel deserving, you didn't know how to wield it because you were still wrapped in the mire of these emotional loops? Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Now we've got this Uranus square exact to this new moon. We've also got Jupiter squaring the new moon, and more specifically Venus. So the value that we have cultivated in life, the values that we have thought were our own in relation to others, in relation to our situations, the epigenetics of the world, we are starting to expand awareness that perhaps that was just the material from which we are building and constructing, burning to recreate the self, the phoenix rising type of energy. Now, Uranus squaring here. Uranus, they say, is the higher frequency, the higher expression of Hermes Trismegistus, or Mercury. For me, Mercury becomes Hermes through the Promethean process, which is Uranus, which is breaking through that which you thought you were to become that which you might be. So you forget who you think you are to be who you might be. This is how Saturn is reborn. Saturn is the child of Uranus, the Sky Father. Now that new moon squaring Uranus, we're bringing in a new emotional awareness. This is the pour of Aquarius, of the star. Through the emotional depths, the starlight is realized in mind, in new perspective, epiphanies. So you may have realizations, you may have a sense of new value from within yourself. The world gets darker, we get brighter. Otherwise, we become what that is. So with Black Moon Lilith here in a new phase conjunction, Black Moon Lilith is the authority of the feminine within you. It's the repressed feminine. It's the anima. A lot of times we can't come into the emotional power of that perception because we can't find a place in this world with which to express it. To bring that forward is to bring the devil out. It has no place in most relation. So it has to be cultured, nurtured, brought into an awareness of self, and then slowly brought forward naturally without the egoic constraints. So it is very ironic and interesting that it's happening here in Leo, which is the revitalization of the ego. But what is the ego? It's the life force which flows through you, interfacing with reality. It's the spirit, the elements of psyche with which we express. So this new moon is trining the North Node in Aries. So we're doing us in a new way by doing relationships differently. If you fall into doing old patterns, you realize quickly where they work, where they don't work. And there is no mistakes. You don't need to get down on yourself for anything unless you refuse to learn from it, unless you refuse to accept the lessons, the understanding, the materials, and build something new with that. So these are the opportunities we have. We need the experiences. We need to push through the emotional constraints. The fear in particular, because Pluto rewards those who transform. Pluto brings the emotional awareness, the gifts of our ancestors, new abilities, new realizations, new ways of analysis. So that North Node here trining, doing ourselves in a new way in the Jupiterian decan, which is in the Mercurial decan of Taurus here, squaring Venus in the Jupiterian decan of Leo. There's all these little subtle dynamic interplays going on. Now we've also got Chiron, the wounded healer here in the Solarian decan of Aries, trining this Venus retrograde and trining the new moon in Leo. And it's opposing Ceres, which is the harvest, that which we bring forward to this world to share, and that which we work through this world in order to enjoy. And it's in the spiritual house with the South Node. So dreams, old relationships may appear, friends, family, enemies, people who have a sense of familiarity may come through in the world around you, in your dreams, in your memory banks. But new information arises because it gives us an opportunity to realize the here and now, bringing heaven to earth through realization. What am I doing? How can I do it in a way which honors the transformation of myself in an optimal way? How can I share that with others? Not through a need to share, but just by virtue of being confident and in control of my own destiny, my own sense of self. Now we've got Neptune in the 5th house, self-expression, fun, love, romance, children, creativity. Now there was a yod with Neptune, Venus in the South Node for quite a while. Now it's just a working, actually this is the final transformation of Neptune in this quincunx in conjunction with the South Node, the House of Spirit. So feeling into that which nourishes your spirit actually helps you to express in a more authentic way. And if you look at Leo as the working transformation of Pisces, so if you can work that into your expression and what it is you feel driven to do, like I'm doing tarot now, I've been doing astrology for a while, and I'm sharing that. I am living in expression. I have Saturn on my MC in Leo. I can't deny it. I can't hide from the truth. I have to embody it. So find what embodies you, which fulfills your spirit, which nourishes you, and bring that forward. If it's false pride, it falls away. You regain, you rebuild, you regenerate. So it's okay when we are on the path to self. So Saturn down here in the 5th as well. Saturn is in the disillusionment phase where our beliefs based off of old feelings, old expectations of others, places we've repressed ourselves, are being shed so that we can stand into the power of our authenticity. So the weakening of the Saturn in the world around us, we're seeing technocracy rise, we're seeing where people are giving their fires away to other people to hold, to think, to feel for them, to give them a pill, to give them some escape. But if you can stand in yourself and your own power, you bring in Prometheus, you bring spirit to form. So when Saturn is weakened, Uranus is strengthened. And by Uranus strengthening, Saturn strengthens, new form is emerging. So it's just, there are no enemies, there are no negatives, positives. It's all part of process. And analysis is when you're captured in the observation. We got to live in the creative flow. So to help us with that, we've got Mercury with a balsamic phase conjunction of Pallas Athena, which is higher intellect, higher wisdom. Athena brings the power that only perception can give us. Without perception, we're just burning down the world. We have no sense of our own abilities. But Pallas Athena here brings divine wisdom, divine intellect to us. And you can see where these two here are coming into a balsamic phase conjunction with Mars as well, and the 3rd decan, the Venusian decan of Virgo. So what we're transforming through Venus right now, through the South Node, it's helping to inform us because Virgo's transformation is through Aries. The paralysis analysis actually destroyed through following the intuitive impulse, which is the most pure expression of your life. And that's Aries. So Mars is being reborn, Venus is being reborn. The mind is realizing through release. So awareness is cultivation. And we've got a lot of supporting energy here. Now we've got the grand Earth trine with Mars, Uranus, and Pluto here. And this is going to get stronger. I mean, it's a perfect trine and square here with these 23s on the 16th. But then Mars will continue going forward with a perfect trine to Pluto. And Mercury will be going retrograde a few days after this. A week maybe, I don't know. So there's going to be a lot of analysis, digestion. Some people will be going through the mind, some people through the emotions, some people going through physical things, some people transformations in their relations, in the world around them. All these things, essentially. It's not so much the equation, but the answer that matters. So however you get to your realization, go with it. All right, so I think I covered it. If you would like a personal astrological analysis, go to my website and schedule an appointment. Other than that, I hope, I trust, I know that whatever we do in this world is for good reason. So thanks for watching, listening, and being.